Hi guys, and welcome to today's vlog. It's a really hot and scorching day outside, so I am naturally in here and hiding from the sun. I also wanted to use this afternoon to be a little bit productive and finally sort out the mess that is my wardrobe. Now, many of you are probably in a similar kind of situation, because when you make your own clothes, you're constantly adding in, which does kind of necessitate a proper sort out every so often. I've been really trying to clear some of my old kind of secondhand pieces on Vinted recently, but I haven't really had a proper kind of go through of all of my handmade items. Now, I really like sorting out my wardrobe in the summer, just because the really thick sort of woolen pieces that I have do take absolutely ages to dry in the winter. So one of my favourite things to do is to have a couple of weeks where I bring out all my knits, I wash them all and I debobble them and like fix any tiny little issues that might be on them to get them really beautiful, kind of crisp, neat and ready for the autumn. But this year, as my collection of knitwear continues to grow almost exponentially, I have decided to also dip my toe in actually cataloguing my knits and kind of building little outfits on an app that I'm going to show you a little bit later. I've really enjoyed it so far, and I think that you might quite like it too. Now, of course, first things first is going to my wardrobe of shame, back over here. You are going to notice it is pretty horrendous, it's a mess, and I really need to just take everything out, put it all kind of flat, probably on the sofa, and see what I've actually got hidden back there. Because I'm fairly sure that there are a few bits that I don't even really remember kind of making or having. So we're going to go over now to the wardrobe. Okay, here it is, the wardrobe of shame. We have a really tiny apartment, so yeah, we've got some wardrobes in here in our kind of living area bit, but this is where I keep quite a lot of my stuff. And you will see it's chaotic. I mean, my hand knits are in a huge scrunched up pile at this point, just because I haven't been able to sort of sort them out since I last made a reel for Instagram. So they're really, really chaotic. There is a little bit more order going on here, but still not very much. I am going to clear actually my whole wardrobe in the next few days, but obviously today is just dedicated to my knitting because that's probably what you guys are most interested in. And yeah, you can see I've even got some yarn in here. I mean, what is this? Drops Lima. Yeah, that is waiting to be knit up, and I'm actually very, very excited about knitting that. I have a really nice idea. I'm thinking of making, I think it's the Louvre sweater by Petite Knit with that yarn. It's a lot of knitwear, okay? I'm just warning you right now, there's going to be a lot of mohair and there's going to be a lot of fuzziness and chaos probably all over these navy trousers. But yes, I will go and grab the lint roller to try and avoid looking too bobbly and fuzzy. Okay, everything is looking much clearer in here now. And you can see my stuff which is hanging is not too bad actually. It's just the mess that was here has now been transferred over to here. Now I have all of this here with me on the sofa. I can kind of see everything. I've got a couple of bits in a few boxes as well, but most of it is here. I'm going to start working out a few different categories that I can put things in and maybe start doing a little tally, because I am a nerd when it comes to numbers and looking at how many sort of individual garments I have of each type. I feel like that might also help me fill in any gaps I have in my wardrobe. Like, one thing that I know for certain is that I really need some more cardigans for the kind of transitional periods between the seasons. And this yarn, which is Drops Lima, I am going to be putting in the storage sort of box that I have, which is massive, with the rest of my yarn. And also in my wardrobe, I had the lovely yarn that I got in Denmark from Summer Fuglen, which I'm really excited about knitting. I was keeping this in my wardrobe, I think because I was kind of optimistic about the prospect of casting it on in the next few weeks. However, now summer is actually here and I've turned off the fan just to record this for a few minutes and I'm already absolutely boiling. So I don't think somehow I'm going to be knitting up this beautiful rustic Danish wool anytime soon. But I will put it away with the drop sleemer where it is supposed to be. And yes, let's get to organising all of this lot. So on here we have all the jumpers that I've currently got in Italy. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 jumpers, which doesn't actually seem like that much considering how much knitting has kind of taken over my life. But I suppose if you think about it in individual stitches and kind of crafting hours, that is pretty epic. There are a couple of jumpers in storage in England at the moment, but this is most of my collection, starting from my earliest jumpers over here with the cumulus blouse, all the way down to my latest jumpers, I'll just turn that, over here, with my Winnie sweater and my no frills sweater. Now that I have all of my knits down on the table over here, I thought I would pull out some of my favourites. In first place, I feel like we have to go for the Moby sweater by Petite Knit. This was such a huge achievement when I finished making it. It is in Drops Lima with Drops Alpaca Silk, I believe. Two slightly different shades of grey, which is what creates this kind of mild effect in the yarn. And yeah, I mean, this was just a absolutely mammoth project because you have all of this complex kind of cabling down the body and you also have it down the sleeves. But if you were to ask me, was it worth it? I would say 100 times yes. And I can't actually wait to cast on some similar very complex cables because I just love how kind of masculine and also classic this jumper feels. I would say out of all of the jumpers that I have, this is the one that speaks to me of, I don't know, like the essence of what I want my style to be, I suppose. If that's like, I don't know, that sounds like a really pretentious and weird way to say it, but it makes sense in my head and I just want to make more of these. I will say though, one thing about this is if I were to make it again, I would actually size up because I like a really oversized look with a cabled jumper. That would be my only criticism, otherwise it is the perfect kind of super thick, cozy winter jumper project. Another one of my favourites will come as no surprise to many of you, and this is technically a cardigan, but I'm counting it as a sweater just because, yeah, I don't have a lot of cardigans. I think I have this one and one other in England. And this is the Whitmore cardigan, which is a very complex lace yoke cardigan that I just get so many compliments on. I would say out of everything in my wardrobe, this is the thing that people are immediately drawn to when they see kind of some of my pictures, and I can't really blame them. It is just stunning. It is also a lot of hard work, and it was one of my kind of first proper lacework projects, I would say. I had dabbled and done a few smaller things, like some bags that I'm going to show you later, but this was a lot of work. However, the yoke was very, very simple, actually, once I got into it, and I really enjoyed it. This is also in one of my favourite yarn combinations, which is the Knitting for Olive Merino and Soft Silk Mohair. Bear in mind, if you want to make this, that you do need several types of different needles because the collar, the body, and that kind of thick double knit button band they're all created on slightly different size needles. So I would say that is the biggest kind of faff with this project, because the yoke is actually not as hard as you would think. Now for my last favourite project, I feel like we just have to go with the Christmas jumper. I mean, just holding it up now, I'm looking at it in the viewfinder and it's just gorgeous, isn't it? The yarn, the design, the fit, everything about this project went right. I made it for Christmas, so it does have a subtle Christmassy snowflake theme going on. However, I wear this all the way through the autumn and the winter, and yeah, it's not too Christmassy. I think because of the colours that I went for, it doesn't scream Christmas like some other Christmas jumpers. And it was also the first time I made a colourwork piece and really just felt like I nailed it, because the detail and kind of just smooth finish of that, yeah, it was such a joy to make and such a huge achievement when I finished making it. The yarn for this is the Hobby Highland Wool in, oh, I'm trying to remember the shade names. This is brown, it might be called chocolate, and the cream is champagne, because if you look closely you will see it is very subtly off-white. Yeah, definitely one of my favourites. My third colourwork jumper, the first one was a disaster and is sort of in jail, in storage in England. The second one I have here, which is a holly jumper, which I adore, and then this one, my Christmas jumper from 2022, that I just love. It's gorgeous. Now, of course, many of you will have seen that this was my next one. I also really love this one. I really love cables, I'm really into lace, but I am just so captured by very traditional, kind of Scandinavian inspired colourwork yokes. I've shown you many of my kind of knitting triumphs, but I do also want to show you my first ever knitted jumper, because obviously this has a real place in my heart. This is the Cumulus blouse by Petite Knit. It was knit up in Drops Kid Silk with one of their discontinued yarns that I think was called Alpaca Silk. And yeah, my first ever sweater. Why did I pick this one? I don't really know. I remember finding the I-cord edging to be one of the single most challenging things I'd ever done in my life. You know, that being said, I feel like I did a pretty good job. You know, I didn't mess up the I-cord too much. But there are several things about this jumper that make it a little bit quirky. For one, I didn't decrease for the sleeves, so these are kind of bell sleeves. The design does not include bell sleeves. This was me just not reading the pattern. I also knit this in size too small, so I had to do some kind of strategic increases down here to fit for my hips. All that being said, I do still wear this jumper and I do still really love it and think that this is a pattern that I would go back to in the future. I'm actually contemplating maybe making this in a darker colour. But yeah, my first jumper, definitely very near and dear to my heart, and one that I really, really loved, and one that also made me realise how magical knitting can feel at times. It's my first time doing raglan. I'll give you a close look. And when these raglan increases were being formed, and I was looking at the strange shape that I was creating on my circular needles, I just thought, wow, this is magic, this is witchcraft. What am I doing? How is it possible that just with a little bit of string and some wooden sticks, I am able to create this? And that is a feeling that I still look for all the time when I knit. And yeah, part of why I love it so very, very much. Now I've gone through the main bulk, which was all sweaters. The next category is sort of summer knits, and it also includes this vest because I didn't know what category to put this in, but it is a beautiful vest. It does, however, need shortening, but I will get round to that at some point. So that is my favourite things. And we have this. This is the summer knit that I wear the most. It's the Peacock Tee by Lenny Holmes Samso. A lovely pattern, and yeah, beautiful kind of lacework yoke. Really like this one, and I get a lot of wear out of it. And then we have a few camisoles that I don't wear as often, or not as often as I should, sometimes because of the colour, but also because they're made of wool, two of them, the two cream ones, so they can be hard to style when it's really, really hot, like it is here in Italy. But we have the Sugar Brew Bralette, we have a camisole by My Favourite Things, and then another camisole by My Favourite Things. I will list the name of these in the description because I can't remember them with all of the numbering just kind of off the top of my head. So yeah, this is a mixed category, summer knits and one lonely vest. Now we're going on to a category that I'm working very hard to expand at present, and this is bags. So here we have this very fluffy teddy clutch by Petite Knit. This was in the WAC Cloud Boucle yarn. Is it Cloud Boucle or Boucle Cloud? I always get that one wrong, but a beautiful yarn. And I added this gold chain just to finish it off. It also features some lining inside, and yeah, I was really happy with this one just because I feel like the finish of it looked really good. It looks much more polished than you would expect from a hand knit clutch. I've just got something squishy in here to kind of support it while it's stored away in my wardrobe. This is the Brigitte bag by Gregoria Fibers. I'll just move my position and put you back on the tripod so I can show you these kind of on me. Here we have the teddy clutch. Of course, you can use it as a kind of slouchy little clutch bag, which looks very, very cute. The lining is this beautiful sort of floral fabric that I found in a haberdashery near my mum's. I also added in the Petite Knit label, so really happy with the finish of this one. A lot of attention to detail, and I sewed the lining with my sewing machine, which was a great sort of beginner project for me to overcome some of my apprehension with sewing. Just a really satisfying little project for when you're in between larger, maybe jumpers or shawls or cardigans or something like that. Now this one, as I said before, has had so much use and almost doesn't need an introduction, but of course it is the Brigitte bag by Gregoria Fibers. I love how slouchy it is now that I've used it for several years actually. It's still holding a good shape, but it has kind of elongated, but that actually makes it even more practical for loading up with shopping. I just shoved something random in there and you can see it looks equally cute when it's full as it does when it's empty. Now Anna, the very talented designer of the Brigitte bag and the kind of creator of the whole Gregoria Fibers sort of universe, did reach out to me and she gave me an updated version of this bag pattern because she's been working really hard to kind of resolve some of the small issues in the original pattern just to make it a whole lot clearer. That includes streamlining the divide in two section to give you a sort of smoother transition. The fact that she is working to improve and always make her patterns better and clearer is also just a testament to her hard work and how much I adore her patterns. Now this is my little bundle of hand knit accessories. I am very partial to a knitted hat, as you will see. I'm going to put the tripod down and I'm going to show you a couple of my favourites, and then we're going to do a final tally of all of my knits, and then we'll start the cataloguing, which I'm very, very excited about. Now hats are the first load of accessories that I'm going to talk you through because that is probably the biggest grouping in my knitted accessories. I love making hats as gifts, but also for myself, just because they're very relaxing and very rewarding to knit. They don't tend to take very long, so you can definitely get a lot done when you're knitting a hat, and it feels like you really fly through the progress of it. So first of all, I have this hat, which is knit in a mystery Rowan yarn that I don't remember the name of. It's just a beanie. And this was one of my first, oh, it doesn't look very flattering here, but this was one of my first projects when we were living in London and I was popping into my John Lewis and exploring all of the yarn they had. So this was like a treat yarn for me when I made it, and I was obsessed with this hat. I wore it all of the time. I think I folded it up, so it was kind of more of like a little cap like that. This doesn't feel very me now, but at the time I loved this hat. I absolutely adored it. When we moved to Italy, I made this sort of raspberry kind of beret that actually matches my raspberry coloured jumper, and I was so happy with that. So when I had this on and then the pop of the raspberry jumper underneath, I was like, oh yes, this is great. Well, now I'm trying on all the hats. My hair is going to be messed up, but I might as well just commit. We're going to try on all the hats. There aren't that many of them. Now this is an Oslo hat by Petite Knit, so it's very thick. I would say if anything this is actually maybe a little bit too small for me. However, I made it in a yarn that I was so impressed with at the time. Now I remember, it was the Manos del Uruguay Cabrito in this beautiful sort of pinky colourway. I still really like these colours. But I just don't find that I reach for this that often, so this may actually be one that I end up listing on Vinted. And now next up we have two which I designed myself. They are two versions of my Claudia hat. I'll try on this one in navy first. I designed the Claudia hat to go with my Claudia gloves, which is why they feature all of this twisted rib. And this is a very sort of slouchy version in this beautiful navy yarn that I got from my local haberdashery. This was leftover yarn, I believe, I used to make this. So yeah, and it does feature a quite prominent pom-pom. This was the first pom-pom that I ever made to actually put on something. I'm sorry if I look a little bit bedraggled while I'm doing this. I feel like it's hard to try on hats in a way that doesn't look a little bit odd, but there we go, we're trying. I promise you, this hat looks very cute in winter with my winter outfits, and I have Claudia gloves in grey that match this that I can't seem to find at the moment, but I will include them in my tally of my accessories as they are one of the things that I wear the most. I will also include a picture of them up here, so yeah, matching set, gloves and hat, really love it, and it was lots of fun to design. Now I've tried on all the hats and thoroughly messed up my hair, I will also show you my two scarves that I designed. Now I like designing small accessories just because I feel like that aligns with my skill set as a designer at the moment. I don't do loads of designs and I never will probably be a sort of full-on knitwear designer. But sometimes when an idea sort of strikes, I do like to create little patterns for them. The first one was a scarf, which I really love and do wear a lot actually in the in-between seasons, and this is my Camille scarf. It's knit in camel yarn, also from the beautiful Lana Industria in Milan. This is so soft, and it's just a simple stripy scarf, but I really love it. Now, going away from stripes, I decided to experiment with cables for my next design, and I created this Victoria scarf. It's looking a little bit crinkled now, but when it has had a press, it is a really sort of crisp, just little cabled neckerchief. Now that I've showed you all of my knitted accessories, I feel like it's about time that I stack everything up and we do an overall tally. Having done the tally of all of my knits and put them out all on the sofa right here, what I'm going to do next is grab my phone and open a very nifty little app. And this is one called Indyx with a Y. You can see that I've put in some of my other wardrobe bits already. It is very much the sort of dream that I had when I was a child and I watched Clueless for the first time. Many of you will be very familiar with that scene where she wakes up and she taps on her little computer and she finds the perfect outfit combination. So yeah, this is going to be me in a few weeks when I have uploaded all of my stuff into this app. Now there are lots of really nifty features about this because it allows you to take a picture of your item flat on the floor. You can spend absolutely hours fiddling around with how to get it perfectly neat to get the ideal picture, but then it removes the background for you. The fact that it removes your background allows you to piece together your things in a little outfit like I have here. You'll see my Brigitte bag featured there, as well as my new t-shirt from COS, Uniqlo comfy trousers I'm wearing today, some sunglasses and my Birkenstocks. Out of all of the wardrobe cataloguing apps that I stumbled across, and I did some fairly extensive research, I was drawn to Indyx just because of how sleek and modern their whole interface feels, and because I am able to add quite a lot of detail to each post I include in my catalogue without having to pay for it, basically. You can of course include details like brand, so for me with my hand knits I would just include the designer's name, as well as size, and I think the amount that you purchased it for, because they do a really cool little calculation that tells you your kind of cost per wear. Now that's a feature to think about way down the line when I've popped in some more information into the app. I also appreciate the fact that they allow you to add notes, so in my case I would probably include the type of yarn that I used, or maybe where I purchased the yarn from, if it was from a special place, like when I went on holiday to Denmark I got my yarn. That would be a nice detail to add in. And another element that I really like is the fact that you can sort everything into season, so that will be particularly useful for me here in Italy where the summers are just so hot. I'm very unlikely to wear any of my sort of autumnal or winter knitwear in the summer. It's just way too warm here most of the time. So I can quickly tap a few buttons and see what handmade options I have to create a little outfit collage for myself each and every day. It's starting to get late, but I've just finished taking photographs of all of my lovely hand knits. So now I reckon I'm going to make myself a cup of tea and start inputting all of my individual entries. If you're interested in trying it out for yourself, I have linked it down below for you. There is a little referral thing, so if I refer you, then we both get, I think, $10 towards a personal stylist sort of consultation. So that's kind of cool if that's something that you're interested in. For me, I reckon I'm more just going to use Indyx to really try and get a grip of my own personal style. I took one of their quizzes, which is supposed to help you narrow down your 3 kind of style words. I'm still working on mine. I feel like I do gravitate towards some in particular. I know that the first one is supposed to be how you would describe your style now. In that case, I feel like I would go for classic, because I do tend to gravitate towards those sort of staple pieces. I think the second one is supposed to be aspirational. For that, I might choose effortless, because I would like my clothes to be more sort of casual, carefree, and kind of undone. I feel now I can put together a nice outfit with my hand knits, but I would love everything to feel a little bit more effortless and chic. And for the third word, you're supposed to conjure an emotion. And for me, I feel like I would choose nostalgic. So in a lot of the outfits that I put together, I do like to feature vintage pieces or a little nod to kind of something from fashion days past. So yeah, those are my 3 words: classic, effortless, and nostalgic. I feel like that kind of speaks to something that I hope my wardrobe will one day be. If you have decided to try and catalogue your outfit, I would love to know how you get on, or tell me what you think your 3 words are maybe. I had a lot of fun filming this today, and now I have to spend some time just sorting everything out and getting certain things ready for a good wash and debobble. I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you again very, very soon. Bye!